Today's episode is sponsored by Skillshare. Man, that longer on-screen X used to be way shorter, even shorter than X-Men 1. Keeping the title intro from the last movie going, we get a title sequence zooming through stars? No, mutants? Oh, it's a brain, a tunnel, cerebro, which, cerebro is important in this one.
Sharing the world has never been humanity's defining attribute.
You say that like you're not the Homo sapiens murdering the Neanderthals in this comparison. Wait, do you think there was like a Cro-Magnon rights movement standing up for the chromosomally impaired? Mind blown. The painting of President Kennedy is, as far as I can tell, the most unique in the White House. He's the only president looking down, which our new buddy Kurt mirrors, currently trapped inside his own brain. Nightcrawler is and makes a Banff. This entire sequence is one of the best in the franchise, and the fantastic Banff visualization is no small part. It's just plain awesome. Through the people impossible camera move. Yep, remember when they did the Quicksilver scene before they had Quicksilver? And they do an amazing job of making Kurt feel terrifying. Dark cloud that sucks you in and spits you out somewhere else, but they never go too far so that he couldn't be redeemed in the audience's eyes. A Logan in his natural habitat. Stunningly beautiful natural habitat. And a scene that further solidifies that conflation of Wolverines and wolves. Wolverines don't howl, and Van Helsing shouldn't wear wigs. How is that a win? Oh, I mean, come on with that crossfade. Or misrepresented Wolverines. I mean, he's still a bloodthirsty animal.
Our own DNA suggests that these two species may have interbred.
Okay, yeah, sure, fine. It was both and other things. But let's not forget that there were most likely a few successful Homo sapien Magnetos. Little known fact, before Liev Schreiber replaced Tyler Mane, he was originally recast as this.
It's not just a headache, is it?
Knowing you boo. And let that be a lesson to you children. Smoking kills, and ice magic saves lives. Let's give all these extras, some trained mimes, credit for staying absolutely still, especially this kid. The mannequin challenge was an amazing way to film this scene.
Bobby, what did you do?
Right, because he freezes people. Hey, you're not supposed to say Jean Grey. Oh, right, Days of Future Past and also the timelines make no sense.
His department has been dealing with the mutant phenomenon since before my time.
You could say Raven's been dealing with mutants her whole life. See, timeline's totally fine. Colorful hint at what's under those fingernails.
I was piloting Black Ops missions in the jungles of North Vietnam where you were sucking on your mama's Woodstock, Kelly.
I wouldn't have pointed this out if it wasn't so stupidly close, but Brian, you're 27 days older than Bruce. Unless you're implying something just way besides trying to remind the audience, which sadly people still thought the writers forgot Kelly died in X-Men 1. I sort of love the idea that Mystique would be so confident that she'd show off and flare her anger just for her own pleasure. Finally, someone acknowledges Colossus's artistic abilities. And fun fact, one of our co-writers, Michael Dougherty, drew this pic on the day. Writer and an illustrator.
Call me Iceman.
The Iceman version of an extra firm handshake.
I could probably think of a few reasons to stick around.
Flirting. Is that like a residual reflex to reach out for any metal? Would make sense.
Can't you just concentrate harder?
If I wanted to kill him, yes.
Stryker master plan shadowing? Appropriately revealed while Xavier is bathed in red light. Bruce Davidson's gait change to match Mystique's. Okay, ready? Pyro, Magma, Dazzler, Skid, Psylocke, Feral, Banshee, Black Tom Cassidy, the lead singer of Cats Laughing, Sabretooth, Sunspot, Polaris, Iceman, Blob, Skin, Wildchild, Husk and Cannonball, Silver Samurai, Weapon X, no not that one, Gambit, Magneto, Artie the Lizard Tongue, Multiple Man, Karma, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, Proteus, Moonstar, and Storm. Also, I guess Stryker doesn't know about the rest of the Guthrie siblings. And since the connection between X2 and the New Mutants is pretty thin, Sunspot and Cannonball are in that movie. And Mirage, Karma, Magma, and a few others were all New Mutants at one time. So, tie-in. Wait, does that say Lauren Dane? Hey, Deadpool's on there too. Chekhov's plastic gun for taking out Cyclops at Magneto's prison. Friendly incapacitation teamwork. It's the genie mutation. Yeah, healing, mind reading, godlike unlimited Phoenix Force powers are cool, but can you cool your buddy's drink down in 2 seconds? Seriously, I've been trying to invent the reverse microwave for a decade. Wait, no, don't steal it!
I've had frequent visits from William Stryker. You remember him, don't you? His son, Jason.
Yes, years ago.
And also there was that time he was a large part of like 5 or 6 of your adventures from the 60s on.
You should have killed me when you had the chance!
Pity. Many that live deserve death, and some that die deserve life. Can you give it to them, Magfroto? My touch that Lady Deathstrike's healing factor was revealed before Logan slices her up later.
Without her, the babies are helpless. The babies can't even see the killer, and someone uninvited is coming to dinner.
Ha! The nature show is describing what's happening to the kids.
Hi.
Politeness. These first two X-Men movies thought Kitty was so cool, but they did not want her to be part of the story. They weren't wrong, she is cool. The subtext of scratching Logan's cheek being a death sentence. But also, holy crap, Wolverine! They finally unleashed him in this movie. Some real berserker rage from our guy. And what better reason than to save some kids? Also, they didn't have to have the holes in the fridge, but goodness does it complete the scene. You're lucky Wade didn't see that. Realistic backside of laugh and plaster walls. Alright.
I can help you. Help them.
One of the many differences between Ryan and Hugh, Hugh isn't secretly in love with Colossus, even though Daniel Cudmore's workout routine. Brutal. The old it's Dutch. No, it's not. Yes, it is. Now, that's an entrance. Also real. Hugh did that stunt.
You want to shoot me? Shoot me!
Badass good guy.
You haven't changed one bit. Me, on the other hand, nature.
Don't blame your crappy eyesight or wrinkles. We're all jealous of Logan's flawless skin and hair. There's always been something so satisfying about how smooth Bobby's ice wall is. Not gonna keep out zombie dragons or anything, but don't you just want to run your hands along it? Is this weird? Am I being weird? Also, fun fact, it's completely real. So is blowing it up. Ha! Danger Room.
Maybe like an all-out war, Mr. Shaw.
Frasier, or Nux, or does Sebastian know he's a mutant? Blue dress is a nice touch. Oh, it's her skin. When an actor has to spend 95% of her scenes in mostly just blue paint, you start to notice Rebecca Romaine's workout routine.
My wife, in the end, took a power drill to her left temple.
That's not how you solve pie. But serious talk, is that why Aronofsky wanted to direct the Wolverine? And every ad man at Big Chewing Gum just changed their entire marketing strategy. Or is it mints? Mints and gum, both of them. Making new friends. It is astonishing how this movie makes some of the most brutal and gruesome things relatively mild and comic booky, but still brutal. And this is one of those moments that makes Magneto feel almost limitless. Stretching the metal into a disc of which you can see the impurities filling in the gaps. Just badass bad guy floating across the expanse.
This mutant problem is a little...
What mutant problem?
Professor Wolverine, the certified ally. Camera again echoing the feelings of the family. Who knew Iceman's bro was a secret Jean fan?
I need the police. There are people in our house. They won't let us leave.
Although, did he just swat his own house?
You know all those dangerous mutants you hear about on the news? I'm the worst one.
You know, it's not the biggest leap to see Pyro snap. There's at least a decent chance he doesn't know about Logan's healing and that cop just shot him in the head for slowly raising knives in his general direction. Heterochromia, a very groovy mutation that seems to come up a lot in these movies.
Don't we have any weapons in this heap?
Show don't tell. I love how Storm rides the line between hero and dark sorceress just with a head tilt. And show they did. This is another one of those scenes that you saw in the trailer but still loved in the film, and actually it's better in the movie. The trailer is strangely brighter. Now that's devotion to your job. Getting that missile off right before ejecting? Someone hates mutants. Kurt Bamping to the rescue. Badass bad guy. It's really the action of a good guy, but he's still a bad guy.
When will these people learn how to fly?
You'll have to go watch the 90s cartoon for that. Hey, Mystique still has the scars from Logan stabbing her, which must be the reason she's out of frame throughout this entire conversation. We technically did get a multi-part story build up to the Phoenix Saga, with the eyes and the fire.
They say you can imitate anybody, even their voice. Even their voice.
Mystique is always a win. Well, actually, Rebecca Romaine is always a win. The way she plays this character is one of the most subtly perfect performances ever.
Then why not stay in disguise all the time? Look like everyone else.
Because we shouldn't have to.
Mutant and proud, bro. Don't you remember? You'd think her son would remember that. Flirting? I think.
We love what you've done with your hair.
Oh, these two are so nasty. In case you don't remember, Magneto did that to her last time. I'm reminded of a shirt I wish I could own. Ian McKellen is always a win. They just absolutely nail Mean Girls together. Also, Rogue's gloveless threat is one of the roguiest things she ever does.
They say you're the bad guy.
Is that what they say?
And I don't know how this guy pulled off Grandpa Sinister and Grandpa White Wizard.
You are a god among insects.
And then he mixes the two together. You might think it was just cheaper to not float it back, but this was Magneto showing that he was willing to go the extra mile to connect to Pyro, not using his power against Pyro. Hook, line, and sinker. The unspoken conversations between these two. impossible camera movement through the roof.
I'll go.
One does not simply walk into Alkali Lake.
What do you intend to do? Scratch it with your claws?
Was probably hoping for someone's axe, but I swear Gandalf used to be more patient. What does it say that Mystique can take out a room full of guys and just slide out of there without a care in the world? Even unstoppable as Miss Stryker.
She's good.
You have no idea.
In no context between any of the actors that have played the characters does this not make me squirm, but it doesn't even matter. The relationship they have goes beyond anything definable by our human sensibilities. Anyone else feel the immediate urge to watch Picard outsmart Moriarty right now? Now, that's an entrance. I'm starting to think this movie is just a bunch of people one-upping each other's entrances. Also teamwork? Quick, before the Rancor comes. Never mind, he's so much worse.
This is one level's quarrel we cannot get involved in.
I just wanted to go fishing. Well, then you should have emptied that dishwasher. Another disagreement settled through the power of love and lasers and telekinesis. Lady Death strikes claws, spikes. Looks like Angel's wings. Hugh Jackman's workout routine of the best.
I used to think you were one of a kind, Wolverine. I was wrong.
I once said Brian Cox is sometimes always a win. This is one of those times. But also it's like you're forgetting about Weapon X. Come on. We all remember. What? No, why would they unsubscribe?
Holy shit.
Appropriate reaction. Goo injection shadow. No, that's not good. Molten hot pen of hay now. Let's go with Chekhov's life-changing liquid. Ooh, that's a comic book panel come to life. Still the grossest yet oddly satisfying noises ever. Brutal. So, yeah, she was the bad guy and Logan needed to stop her, but this look is heart-wrenching as the color of her eyes fades to normal. Remember that all it took was a little gene sonic or psionic blast to knock some sense back into Scott, so this is Yuriko's brief moment of regret now that her body is back under her control. And Logan killing her is like killing the only other albino rhino on Earth. Although the clank when her head hits the bottom of the tank is pretty great. Seriously, every entrance. Badass bad guy who's sort of on the good guy's team again, or for the first time, depending on your view on the timeline. Charles did say Eric helped him build it, so he'd know to do whatever it is he's doing. Just come on with this pageantry.
If you really knew about your past, what kind of person you were, the work we did together.
Also, you had a brother you completely forgot about. Locutus was innocent. Smart to set up the color palette early on. Mutants red, humans silvery white, not to mention this little setup.
Through Cerebro, I'm connected to them. And they to me.
Who is this guy? Who are you?
Who the hell is this?
My name is Kurt Wagner.
Kurt Wagner.
But in the Munich circus.
But in the Munich circus, I was known as the incredible Nightcrawler.
Yes, save it.
Oh, brevity.
If I can't see where I'm going.
I have faith in you.
Ooh, she got you. She got you with the callback.
So can faith.
Not to mention that it all leads to Storm saving humans, which she sort of alluded to not caring about earlier.
Well, I gave up on pity a long time ago.
More silent words between these two. One more Banff moment to save, well, most of them. I love that Rogue piloting the X-Jet is worthy of the X-Men musical flourish.
One day, someone will finish what I've started, Wolverine!
Look, bro, only Logan can kill Logan. Comeuppance?
I know what I'm doing. This is
The only way.
do this. Goodbye.
Sir Patrick Stewart playing Xavier pretending to be channeling Jean. Patrick Stewart is always a win. Self-sacrifice, but what a moment. We were maybe confused. Did she have to die? Why not float on up there? Heck, couldn't you have done all of this from inside the jet? Well, yes, but I don't think she knew that yet. The entire movie was her learning the extent of her powers.
What do you remember,
Nothing.
Jean?
I'd rather get him back to the professor.
But it wasn't until that moment that she realized she had no idea how powerful she actually was. And you can't rise like a phoenix if you don't fall like a... if you don't die.
She's not.
We really don't deserve you, Hugh. You either, guy from the RAV4 Wolf commercials. Alkali Lake just got a lot lakier. Now, that's an entrance. Nightcrawler is amazing, and I really haven't sung Alan Cummings' praises enough, so good job, Eli.
How did you get this?
Well, that's
Just say I know a little girl who can walk through walls.
See what I mean about Shadowcat? Both movies now, mentioned and cameoed, and then later replaced by Vanya.
Why don't we get uniforms?
Yeah, where's ours? They're on order. Should arrive in a few years.
Didn't take a few years, but I'd say saving all the Men of X earns you a uniform.
We're here to stay, Mr. President. The next move is yours.
We'll be watching.
Okay, we all agreed Xavier was going to be the one that talked. But still, My, how far you've come, Loner Logan. Speaking of characters they still refuse to use, Jubilee. You want to know how bad it is? Storm very clearly says Jubilee here.
Jubilee?
And the subtitles say Julie, because there's no justice for 90s kids. Yep. X-Men United is regarded as one of the best, if not the best, X-Men film. Going back through, it's easy to remember why. It's just an excellent movie. The story has solid through lines within itself, as well as things they carried over from X-Men 1. The director called this The Empire Strikes Back of this trilogy, which is pretty self-indulgent, but it does follow a lot of the same story beats. Death, separation, changing alliances, a fundamental change in someone that they never recover from, that hopeful uneasiness in the ending that makes you long for more while still feeling satisfied with the story told. And it has some of the best set pieces in a comic book movie still. Yes, Avengers exists, all 4 of them. The fact that this slow-mo scene from 2003 holds up sort of blew my mind. And while Marvel has perfected the ensemble movie at this point, not much could touch X2 for a long time. Multiple groups split and brought back together, blurring the clearly divided line between the Brotherhood and the X-Men from the first movie believably. There's tension, there's levity, and there's even Xavier's X-Men doing a lot of it without him. Love for this film isn't exactly as universal as I assumed it was, but I think it suffers mostly from the... Lots of people remember a thing as perfect even though we've all agreed that nothing is truly flawless. Hearing someone talk about that thing for the umpteenth time gives me free rein to poop all over it, whether I'm just an edgelord or genuinely don't like the movie. Syndrome. But you know me, even if the story wasn't as good as it is, goodness there are some performances. It's hard to pick out one from Hugh that stands above the rest, but he was definitely more savage this time around, and we got to see shades of comic Wolverine. But he also pushed it the other way and let it all out with funny man James Marsden crying on his shoulder. Poor James. The curse of being just too good looking to be allowed to play comedic roles unless it's opposite a cartoon? Pet theory founded in nothing. Also, a fun thing that was pointed out to me recently was that James Marsden gets typecast as the super nice boyfriend that you root against because it's never his story. X-Men, Superman Returns, The Notebook. Poor, poor, beautiful man. Sirs, Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen picked up right where they left off. There's a seriousness that the two of them bring to a goofy movie about magic people doing magic things, and you just don't get that with like 99% of all other actors. And then Famke really sold her fall to the Phoenix Force. I think she only has one better performance as Jean, but let's hold off on that and keep the flaming to one comment section. I honestly don't think Brian Cox gets enough praise for this movie, and it's at least partially because he's so dang unlikable. It's easy to go, ooh, Mads Mikkelsen is so evil and cool. Michael B. Jordan had like a mission statement and it's not too difficult to defend. And James Earl Jones was the voice of bad but still redeemable. But no one sings poor Jack Gleason's praises. And you just proved my point by pausing and Googling to learn that he's Joffrey Baratheon. Yeah, I see you. You don't garner as much hate as he does without an immense amount of talent. Lines like this from Brian.
I used to think you were one of a kind, Wolverine. I was wrong.
Just define his personality. Side note, it's crazy that Stryker is in like 6 movies but dies in his first appearance. And I already showered her with love, but Rebecca Romijn took silent enforcer type to a whole new level. We learn more about Mystique through her actions, and this one line.
Then why not stay in disguise all the time?
Because we shouldn't have to.
Then comparisons don't matter.
No.
She's amazing. There isn't a weak link in the chain. From Paquin to Cummings to Barry to Ty Olsson. The guy who put on tens of pounds to play the role. It's just a perfectly rounded out cast. 2003, or the distant past, was a different time culturally, and I have to give it up to the filmmakers for this spotlight on the ridiculousness that things like mutantism are a choice. It's a clear coming out allegory, it always has been, but it can be applied to any group that's not accepted by the normies. We also got a brief message about faith and forgiveness that I love, and even Pyro's turn to the dark side isn't just a throwaway. You feel for the kid. He and Bobby are going through the same things, and as hard as Bobby's family fails, Pyro either has a seriously dysfunctional family or doesn't even have one. Enter Magnadad. His seduction is so simple and subtle and like he just doesn't even care. Want to join? Fine, whatever. He'd say the same thing whether he thought Pyro was susceptible or not. It's just so wonderfully conceived and executed. Every bit of the way the goodies play off the baddies is perfectly crafted. Honestly, the only thing really lacking from this movie is more Xavier. He's gone for a long time, but that doesn't stop him from being a huge presence in the film. And you know what they say, if you can find a teacher who will teach you about the same book his arch enemy was reading in the beginning and also can read your mind and moonlights as the leader of a team of superheroes, keep him. But if you don't have access to a magic school and still want to learn something new and useful, check out today's sponsor, Skillshare. Oh hey, new logos. Look at me pretending like I didn't edit this myself. Something you could absolutely learn through Skillshare. In fact, I did. Skillshare is an online learning community where you can learn from real people actually active in the things they're teaching. Everything from illustration, creative writing, music production, and so much more. And today I want to recommend a class from Justin Genak all about becoming a freelancer, what that entails, and all the things he's learned through experience. Things like how to create an eye-catching portfolio and how to pitch your ideas to traditional media, as well as the best ways to get your name out there through social media. Very informative class, one I think you could get a lot out of. And you can get access to all of it, every class, for only $10 a month. But today, the first 500 of my subscribers to click the link at the top of the description will get 2 months for free. So check it out. I know you'll be inspired. It's always a massive help to the channel, so thank you.